God damn it, I feel like I just got a fucking event chain from my own goddamn intestines.
Oh, I see.
Like,
Could you be more Pacific?
it was like, it was a real situation, okay? So, like, fucking, you know what, whenever you're like, oh, I gotta pee. So you stand up, you go to the bathroom, you pee, and you're about to wash your hands, and your body's like, oh yeah, by the way, you gotta take a shit too. It's like, fucking seriously? Okay, fine. You sit down, you start shitting. It feels like a fucking log is about to come out. A whole ass brick is being formed in your intestines, and you're like, oh, this is terrible. So that comes out, and then it's like a fucking goddamn log flume after that, and it's like, holy shit, I don't even remember eating this much.
Yeah, sometimes it just kind of stays stuck there until.
And then you go to lean over to go grab some toilet.
Bro?
No, there's plenty of fiber in there. Then you gotta lean over to grab some toilet paper, but because you fucking flexed the wrong muscle, that just reminded the intestine that, wait, there's more!
Yeah, I've had that moment.
And I was just sitting there, I'm like, holy fucking god!
Wait, I'm sorry, Sneaky.
Yes, literally. No, fucking, let me tell you, man, my fucking intestines, they're OxyClean now. God damn it. But, like I said, I just got event chained by my own fucking intestines. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it is Fanfiction
Imagine
Contempt
being
Theater.
event changed by your intestines while also having COVID. It is a unique hell.
Oh, well, that sounds like a skill issue.
That sounds like you should
So,
be quiet.
at what point do you just decide you live on a bucket at that juncture, Nose? Just you exist on two buckets, one for the front and one for the back.
No, I have not seen the new one. Go ahead and link it if you can. Flex cock. Nice cock.
What?
Flex cock.
Oh yeah.
Where's the new flex foam so I can do shit without having to worry too much about things?
No, you can't stick it up your ass.
That's not what I was implying.
Wait, Sneaky.
Uh-huh.
Does this mean I can cast the mythical men butt crack?
Yes, actually.
I mean, you could do that before with flex tape.
Well, no, not flex tape. Flex spray. The spray can stuff.
Spray.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see that you could work around.
No.
Yeah, you had to make a prayer to the Holy Spirit of Jontron, and you would be healed.
No. The flex seal spray is that shit would only be coming off if your fucking skin came off. So it's gonna be a
that's
while.
what I'm saying. You could work around it.
But you can work around caulking your asshole shut too.
No, but you can get the caulk directly inside.
Yes, caulk goes inside assholes, Latin. We get it.
No, that's
a reach.
Not actually the joke I was making.
That's a reach.
That was not the joke I was making.
That's a reach.
No, it was a reach around.
Hey.
Oh, dick jokes.
We're adults here.
Dangly farts.
Hey, look, fucking someone else said this earlier in a video I was watching today, and I have to agree. So fucking 7-year-old there, watching some sort of TikTok, it's a dick joke. Shows it to his dad, the dad laughs. Shows it to his grandfather, grandfather laughs. It doesn't matter what fucking age you are, men will laugh at the same joke. Just how it is. Yeah, you just post it, whatever. I don't care. Flex cock. Nice cock. Caulking with a caulking gun. I mean, that's fair. I have had to actually caulk before, and that was a bitch to do.
Actually, working with caulk is quite difficult.
It's Jesus Christ. When you squeeze the cock, it makes a total mess. It just keeps running and dripping. God fucking damn it. Oh, the people at Flex Seal, they are on another level. They are on another level.
I mean,
Of
they
hell.
know what works.
Anyway, so, gentlemen, fan fiction time. I don't really have too many stories to tell. I haven't had too much going on. Just, you know, my boss being forced to acknowledge that, when I complained to him about numbers, there was a reason why I was complaining about the numbers. I was the only one meeting mine. I was also, apparently, I don't know if I told you guys this yet, but they finally released the call stats of, you know, phone calls picked up and etc. And I'm picking up the entirety of my team's calls. Like, there's 4 people in the team that should be picking up phone calls. I'm picking up 75% of them.
I see.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, then my manager saw that and was like, maybe Sneaky isn't just complaining. Maybe he has a point. You know, shocker of all shockers. But anyway, gentlemen. Also, by the way, is anyone else still having fucking issues getting emails from fanfiction.net? Because I am.
Yes.
And it's really fucking annoying. Where the hell did it go? Oh, over here. Oh. Because I am, and I've, like, re-enabled it multiple times, and they're still getting blocked, and it's just so fucking frustrating. Yeah. Yeah, it's so fucking frustrating. No need for emails because I have the app. Yeah, but their app sucks dick. I'm sorry, but their app just sucks. But, yeah, I mean, it's just really frustrating. And I know why they're being blocked. It's either A, spam cop, fuck those guys, by the way, or B, people maliciously reporting fanfiction.net emails. Which, we can fuck those people as well. It functions sometimes. Well, I need it to always function anyway, so let's get started.
Impossible challenge.
Yeah, I know, right? You know what? Let's go to the video game section. The most uncontroversial section we could possibly click on, Warhammer. Most uncontroversial. Nothing ever controversial happens in the Warhammer section.
Sometimes they release good DLCs like today.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, sort of. So that DLC is only as good as it is, specifically because the last DLC they released, they shit the bed so hard on it. They didn't even try and fix the bed. They just fucking bought a new bed.
Okay, but hang on a minute. They've got, like, I actually do like some of the stuff they're doing. Like, hey, you know what? There's 3 characters. Buy the one you want.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely appreciate that.
Yeah. But, I mean, you know, it's just like... It's like... Much like with Paradox and Stellaris, if they stopped trying to reinvent the wheel and just put out the fucking game and then said, okay, what are the top mods? Okay, these are the top mods, put them in the game. If that's all they did, they would get, positive rep, successful, right? But they could go a step further and be like, hey, $60K a year, hey, want to just come work at the company, keep maintaining the section of code that you created, help implement it deeper into our code so it's all one fucking functioning mess. That would have been even better. They would have earned them so much fucking goodwill. I mean, just look at fucking Valve. They give 1% to the artists of TF2 and Dota stuff. 1% of the profits. And people will die for Valve to defend them on it. Which, I mean, admittedly, $130K because your set was popular is a pretty good payout for a couple hours of work.
Okay, I've seen some of those TF2 sets. It's a lot more than a couple hours.
Yes, no, I'm not saying that all of them were a couple hours. I mean, hell, some of them might have even been a couple days. Some of them might have been a whole month's worth of work. But 130K payout is still pretty fucking good.
Absolutely.
Oh, what was your income this month? 130K? Pretty low, all things considered.
But, I mean, here's the thing. You gotta, that might be their big hit for the year, though.
No, and I understand. But, what I'm saying, though, is that Valve is basically spending a pittance to give back to the people producing the content. Because, by all technicality, Valve doesn't have to pay you at all. Because you're making content for a game that they hold the trademark and copyright to. So technically speaking, you don't own any of that. And if they really wanted to, they could win in the courts against you suing you, much like Nintendo does. But instead they pay you, which is why they get so much fucking goodwill. Because they go, oh wow, so people really like this thing? We're just gonna make it official, sell it, and give some of the profits to the person that originally made it. And they get it's so easy. Barely an inconvenience. They already made the fucking model. So it's just like, that's all Warhammer has to do for their games. That's all Company of Heroes had to do. Like, Company of Heroes 3, I don't know if anyone played it.
There was a third Company of Heroes?
Did anyone play it at all? Yeah, exactly.
No.
So, Company of Heroes 3 came out, and you know what they did? They zoomed it in more. They made it more about individual unit tactics where you have to click more fucking buttons per unit. And they reduced the amount of fucking commanders again. They made the maps smaller and more washed out. And it's like, that is literally the opposite of everything people modded Company of Heroes 2 to be.
Well, people also modded in all the fucking commanders that they were selling for like $12 a pop.
Yeah, but that's not the point, though, Nose. The point is that if one of the most popular mods on the fucking workshop is a zoom out mod, maybe, just maybe, put it in your fucking game. If all of the top maps are these giant sprawling maps with nice clean choke points, maybe learn from that. If all of the top, if people really love having a wide breadth of commanders to pick from with varied unit types that they can style to their personal way of playing the game, maybe don't remove them. You already made the content. Why take it away and then not even put it back in? Like they're not even reselling them. They're just not putting them in at all, period. Not even a paywall. They're just gone. They got fucking fingers snapped. It's just Yeah, RimWorld mod of fame called Walllight. Yeah, exactly. Fucking hey, a whole bunch of mods that were either quality of life or were just like core mods that everyone had because why isn't this in the game already, such as a fucking light that you can put on your wall and not take up a position on the ground, which is a limited amount of tiles that you can build your base with. And the fucking and the game owner just looked at that and said, oh, I'm gonna put all these in my game now because these are all good ideas. It's easy win. Easy win. No effort on his part. All he had to do was open the fucking workshop and sort by most popular. Now, don't get me wrong. Some mods should stay mods. Steel and Faith Overhaul, for example. Absolutely should stay a mod. Hands down.
Oh God, keep that a fucking mod.
You know, Warhammer is balanced one way, and I'm fine with that. But if they could learn from Steel and Faith Overhaul, if they could learn from Radius, if they could learn from the other mods out there that modify the units and what they do and how they work, I would prefer that. I would prefer if my fucking towns weren't just pit stops for the AI's armies. I would prefer if I didn't have to make a fucking 20-stack army to defend every town I owned, simply so the AI couldn't roll over it for free.
That's why we add better garrisons.
That's
his point. No,
that's literally my point.
Make garrisons less shit.
Like one of the reasons why I stan Steel and Faith Overhaul so much is because it adds walls to nearly every faction and makes those walls available for towns. Which is hilariously critical, because otherwise you just instantly lose every fucking battle when a 20-stack AI army decides to free spawn into your fucking territory, and your armies are already busy fighting off 9 different factions who decided that because Chaos Wars were called, they're all gonna send their armies arbitrarily across the entire map to invade you.
Yeah.
And then the fucking orcs just spawn in because that's just an event, and then just start rolling over all your towns, and then your income plummets, and all of those, the 90 turns you spent finally getting the town, because by the way, let's make growth absolute ass. The 90 turns it spent to get your towns to level 3 so they could finally be fucking useful and contribute to your capabilities of earning money or purchasing units. They're gone. Instantly. And your fucking whole game collapses and you're pushed back to one city. And now you have to spend another 300 turns trying to push it back again. Because, God forbid you make it possible to defend your fucking towns. Oh, we added choke points. Also, every fucking faction except humans are just allowed to skip them. Wow, those choke points are so useful.
Don't worry, guys. We added that you can build more towers. Why aren't you engaging with this mechanic that we spent 300 hours on?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If they allowed towns to actually be defensible, I wouldn't care.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So do whatever as long as my fucking towns, as long as I can play a fucking, even if I can't auto complete it, as long as I can play a town mission and reasonably with the garrison in my town fight off a 20-stack army, because it goes both ways, right? Because that way the AI's towns are also a smidge harder to just not fucking roll over.
You don't just auto-resolve everything in the territory for free.
Yeah. And so now I actually have to fight these battles intelligently. God forbid I do that in a total war game. Anyway, so fanfic news, and then we're gonna start reading these dog shit fanfics. So Aura, you can blame Aura for this, everyone. Aura brought this to my attention. DxD is getting a spin-off.
Okay.
This spin-off takes place halfway into DxD. And effectively, yeah, go ahead and post the link, Aura. Effectively, it's a overpowered OC main character who's super edgy and lewder than Issei, because her sword, every time she beats someone with her sword, her boobs get bigger, and her life goal is to make her boobs smaller. Also,
Okay,
by the way, she conveniently transfers to Kuo and becomes Rias's junior.
Well, of course. Okay, here's my question. Like, what size do they start at? Because surely after, and like, how much do they grow with each one? Because I'm asking because
Asking
after
the real
like,
questions here.
no, because after like 5 wins, like she'll look like a fucking, she'll look like one of Sign's fucking caricatures.
Right.
You know, the humans that like can't fucking walk, and I don't understand why anyone likes those.
Yeah, where Sign makes him have like fucking double G cup boobs.
Hanging down to
that's
the
the main
fucking
character right there.
floor.
That's the main character as she shows up at the academy, and she used to be flat.
Oh, okay. So like, she's already gonna have like, okay.
She's got already massive badonkers, yes.
That like, Jesus fuck, you're
Also not wearing a bra.
yeah.
Yeah, she's like 14, 13 as well. And the entire manga is about sexualizing her. It's literally canonized fan fiction because it's not even by the author.
I don't even like. I see the shitty DeviantArt double G
least
cup,
horny
and
manga
I'm like,
writer.
do you understand how human beings work?
Fucking Narissa's going to a goddamn doctor about her boobs. She's got scoliosis.
Has she said what her actual size is?
Yeah. They match quite closely to her character art.
Yeah, like again, that's the thing. Like, there were a couple of people I knew, in high school, and Sneaky. I think there was one at Champlain. Like, there were a couple of girls who had absolutely massive breasts, and that like they got reduction surgery for their health.
Yeah.
Like, actually.
Yeah. That's the one time I'm like, okay with that sort of shit. I just generally hate cosmetic surgery in general, but like, if it's like, oh, you gotta reduce the size of this or it's gonna fucking, you know, destroy your spine, then it's like, okay, yeah, I get you. Understandable. Have a nice day. But yeah, no, she's a child, literally a child, not even like jokingly a child, like literally a child. And,
even by Japan's horrible standards.
Yeah, and the entire spin-off manga is about her beating people with this sword because she's a sword master, and her boobs just keep getting bigger. And like I said, she's also more perverted than Issei. Because of course she is. But even this, sorry, this reminded me of another thing. I'm gonna fucking post this here, I guess. Let me go grab that real quick. Let me find this real quick. Blah 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 blah. Here it is. So, Mr. Baldman. Mr. Baldman has recently brought something in the Genshin community to my attention. Which, if this didn't convince you to stop playing Genshin. So Tectone has brought up that there is a large section of the Genshin community that is shipping a 6-year-old and a 30-year-old.
Yeah.
Now,
I thought we already all knew that.
Now, some people are saying, oh, well, it's okay because she's actually 300.
That's just a common thing.
I don't care how common it is.
Yeah, but Tectone makes this point, and I've made this point before, and I'm just going to reiterate, and then we're going to move on. I don't care what their age is listed as. If their body is the same sort of body you would see on a 6-year-old, it's a 6-year-old. If you are jacking off to it, going, oh, but she's 300, she's 300, she's 300, she's 300, you are jacking off to a 6-year-old. And it's the same, it goes the opposite way too, right? You know, the JoJo characters, right? They're all like 14 or 16 or some shit, but they look like 30. It's not weird to be sexually attracted to them. Oh, but their age says they're 16. It's like, yeah, but they're drawn to look 30.
I mean, yeah.
That is the 30-year-old body type. It's not weird to be attracted to that. That is the 6-year-old body type. It is weird to be attracted to that. And, you know, fucking Bethesda. Holy shit. Hoo ha. 14 years ago, Bethesda introduced a character called Babette. A very unfortunate vampire child who just straight shit at one point when you talk to her a bunch, and then you side with the side of the Dark Brotherhood, and she talks more about her backstory. Just straight shit says, yeah, basically I can't find love in my life because the only sort of people that would be attracted to me are the sorts of people that just want a child to be sexually attracted to. They don't care about my age. They care about my body.
I believe also there's an alternate line in there. It's the kind of people we're paid to kill.
Yes, there's that one as well, yes. Where she also apparently, you know, occasionally goes out and intentionally, you know, waves the red flag for those people to come out of the woodwork so she can kill them herself. But, yeah, no, it's like, I'm sorry, I don't care what their age is. I don't care that she's a 300-year-old vampire. She was turned into a vampire when she was 6. And she looks like a 6-year-old. I don't care that Naruhida is some sort of, like, reincarnation of the Earth Goddess from the time civilization began. She's got the body of a 6-year-old. Fucking whack off to the adult form as much as you want. Same with Nell. Whack off to the adult form as much as you want. Stop whacking off to the child form. 'Cause it says it in the name. Child form. Child. Stop being pedos. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, that's the vampire, yeah. The ice vampire, yeah. Zombie, ice vampire, whatever. Genshin's just weird. They've done this multiple times now. I wouldn't
Do
fuck
we need to
Rory
bring up Tree
Mercury.
again?
Okay, look, I wouldn't fuck Rory Mercury because her idea of loving relationship ends like the praying mantis does. Also, Rory Mercury, the disciple of the god of death. Don't fuck her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just saying we don't know the age. My point more is it doesn't matter what the age is on paper. It matters how they're drawn, because they are. I'm going to shock everyone with this. They are drawings. Now that everyone's thoroughly shocked, what that means is that they are drawings. And so it matters how they're drawn. That's just, that's it. You know, you can put the text apple underneath a banana, but that doesn't make the banana suddenly an apple. You can put 300 next to a child, a picture of a child, doesn't suddenly make the child 300. Just how it is. Anyway, so, Warhammer. Of course, the first story on the docket here looks to be a really dog shit orc story. The Weird Boss. What happens when an orc weird boy has his body replaced with one of necrodermis? And his mind melded with a bloodthirsty man of iron.
Alright, you don't need to read this. This person is an absolute idiot, and they have no idea what they're doing with anything. You can safely skip this.
Yes. The answer is a log like no one has ever seen. Yeah. No. No.
Yeah, that sounds dumb.
Sounds incredibly... Hey, what if we took the orcs and,
They're no longer orcs now.
They're no longer orcs, they're robots.
So now you just have the lizardmen, but worse.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah. Yeah. This is just dumb. I hate it. Oh yeah, here's the War Master of Chaos story, which I personally don't like. Chronicles of Isha, Goddess of Life, we've covered that one before. A gamer's journey to the stars. My self-insert gamer OC goes to Warhammer 40k to save it.
We've covered this 1,000 times. All the problems with this.
You want to know how you save the 40k universe? You don't. You bring back the old world and kick Archaon in the nuts. There, you have a better Warhammer setting.
Okay,
Right.
A, shut up. B,
No.
There's no fixing 40k. Like,
Wow, these are just bricks of text.
of course they are.
No punctuation. Amazing. These are entire paragraphs with only a single period in them. Amazing. Alright. I'm gonna go torture Sam with this real quick. Hold on. I'll post it here as well, I guess. But let me go find Shitrex. Here we go. Sam. Let's see what else we got here. Requiem of a Broken Dream. Old wounds must be healed so the sky opens up with future dreams. What?
That sounds suspiciously like...
Chaos.
Yeah. That sounds like Zinch.
The Emperor strives to right millennia-old wrongs. No, he doesn't. And bring the prospect of thriving, not just survival, to his Imperium. No, he doesn't. Torn relationships come together in the hopes of mending. No, they don't.
No, they do not.
Will their dreams of hope thrive against their enemies? They won't. Or will all be plunged into the abyss? They will. And a possibility to never again be found? They won't. Until GW needs more content. Look, okay, so it's the fucking video I posted earlier and added you guys all at. Of just like the Warhammer 40k is literally, okay, so Mankind, they're on the brink, they're getting fucking, just absolutely kicked to the fuck in across the board everywhere, but somehow they're holding out because this is also a humanity fuck yeah story, but it's like a dark humanity fuck yeah story. If you solve all the problems, then it doesn't. It's not an interesting story anymore. And it's like a lot of people don't fucking get it.
My story is that this war game no longer is a war game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, basically, but it's like, oh, this is a 30k story where the point of the story is that we avoid all of the bad stuff that happens.
I mean, here's the thing. You can have a story where some of the characters are different and do
like
interesting
the
things
Rubetan
in the
Heresy
setting.
is a genuinely interesting story.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, there's so many stories. There's the different kinds of heresies. There's the Noble Dark Imperium, which is kind of it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
What's a really good one? There's a funny one with the Emperor becomes a Tarrasque. That was just kind of funny.
Huh?
What?
The Emperor gets a Tarrasque body. Like he just becomes the Emperor in the body of a Tarrasque. It's just kind of, it's weird. It's just kind of funny, I guess.
But anyway, point being is yes, there can be plenty of alternative stories and alt history attempts done, but I'm specifically talking about how these people come out and they're like, oh, I'm gonna write a story where we solve Warhammer, and it's like, no, you fucking dipshit. The point of Warhammer is that it can't be solved. That literally every faction in Warhammer is out to win it all. There is no agreements. There is no, bridging the gaps. There is, okay, hello, Eldar. I hate you, you hate me, you think I'm an inferior subspecies, I think you should all die in a fire and I would laugh, but we both hate the Tyranids more, and we both don't want the orcs getting that weird device, and chaos sucks more, so let's theoretically kill each other less when we see each other on the battlefield if those parties are also there.
If they are also there,
honestly,
I will not kill you.
Dawn of War has an excellent summary of how that functions, because listen, they will work together on a nominal level, but not even necessarily all the time. Dawn of War wouldn't have gone the story of Dawn of War would not have gone nearly as poorly if the fucking Blood Angels had listened to the fucking Eldar.
Sure.
And that hurts my soul to say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a lot like it's a lot like that one speech that I don't know, was that an official speech? I forget if that was an official speech or not. It's like the speech they had that's on YouTube that they had what's his face the Necron guy that's really funny.
Oh yeah, from Trazen.
Yeah, the speech from Trazen, where he's like, this cube, you guys keep fighting over trying to get to this cube, but the funniest part about all of it is that I'm not trapping you here. You willingly come into this labyrinth every single time to try and take this object. Because your greed is too much for you.
Yep.
And like it's like yeah, that's a lot of shit going on. That happens very often. And it's like yeah, some of these factions, they can put their differences aside to fight bigger threats, but they're not going to become friends. They're just going to shoot at each other 10% less.
They're just like, yeah, there's too many competing interests for them to like fully integrate.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's like you make a deal with one craft world. That doesn't mean that deal propagates out to all the rest of the craft worlds. That doesn't mean the random Eldar squad you find from that craft world is even going to respect that deal. So yeah, you just shoot first. Yeah, if you can get one of the higher-ups on the line and they actually deign to answer your call, maybe they'll be like, yeah, you do have that deal with us. All right, fine. We'll stop trying to kill each other here for like a week.
And just to be clear,
the Votann sort of work like that. But
no,
also,
the Votann are far more. Look, just leave us the fuck alone. Like, as far as we know, Votann are the only ones that haven't like.
That's because there's no lore written yet.
I know,
Yeah.
but anyway, look. My point is that, believe it or not, you can see a great example of this in shit. What is it? The Rogue Trader game, because
yes, yeah.
you have an Eldar with you. An Eldar who's from the same craft world. And she will even yell a line of, "Stop attacking, you morons. We're trying to help."
Yeah.
But then a GW writer realizes that someone hasn't been retarded for 6 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, but
it's not even Games Workshop.
Yeah, but I mean, it's as Atin said. I mean, it's part of the draw of the and why these factions break down. And I don't know if this was intentional by the writers or not when it comes to Warhammer, but they did a good job of showing it. At least is that no agreement can ever really be truly passed through. Like, you can get a deal with a rogue trader. You can get a deal with a inquisitor. And then you have to rely on the millions of people on the inquisitor's ship to all agree with the inquisitor's deal. And then the millions of people on your ship to all agree with your half of the deal to get it to even function, let alone the planet, let alone the other planet, let alone the sector governor, let alone, like, there's so many other tiers of government. Like, it effectively is the equivalent of whenever a deal gets struck and it's like, oh yeah, this fucking fleet admiral made a deal with the, this other species fleet admiral. And it's like, yeah, effectively, this one gang in a small town in the middle of nowhere made a deal with another gang in that same town in the middle of nowhere to not shoot each other, which had absolutely no effect on the Bloods and Crips shooting each other in a different city. That's just how it is. Like, you have so many people on all factions running around that you're never going to be able to actually manufacture a lasting deal for the species. This isn't like, fucking Earth, where we have countries and they are relatively small in comparison to anything going on in Warhammer. And even then, we still can't keep to our own fucking deal sometimes. And you somehow expect factions literally hundreds of thousands of times larger than Earth's to somehow manufacture deals and stick to them. This is why I hate anyone that tries to write a story where they solve Warhammer and their character goes around making peace treaties and suddenly the Eldar aren't shooting and the Tau are Well, the Tau aren't dying anymore to the Imperium whenever they decide to shoot back. all it takes is one higher up anywhere at any time to accuse you of heresy, and that's all that any other faction needs to start investigating you and turning all of your deals over and then ruining everything again. And
this one person is committing heresy. Did you see it? No, but they're making more money from me than a trade deal, so fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, literally, that's what it is at the end of the day. And it's like, I'm sorry, but humanity is always going to devolve into that, where any system where meritocracy reigns will eventually see the Peter Principle take effect, where the people who are competent up until they're incompetent finally get to the position they're incompetent in, and maybe they're smart enough to be aware of that, and then they start going, oh shit, someone is going to be promoted over me. I can't let that happen. I'll lose power. I'll lose money. I'll lose, the nice stuff I have if that happens, and I might even get fired then. And so they invent shit like religion. They invent shit like divine right. They invent shit, and this, which is separate from religion. They invent shit like fucking blue blooding, to justify why they need to stay in the positions they're in and why people can't advance past them anymore. It's inevitable. It happens in every system ever, period. It just does. Eventually, you will get stupid people. That's just how it works. People are stupid. Eventually, the smart people get replaced by stupid people by just sheer time. I mean, just look at every fucking successful dictatorship. The dictator that brought about...
I'd make a joke about China.
Well, no, but really, like, the dictator that brings about the dictatorship usually is actually highly competent, because they brought about the dictatorship and they knew how to wield the levers of power, and they knew how to spur the people, and they knew how to organize a country, and they knew how to get loyal people into power that were loyal to them. But eventually, dictatorships will fail when either the son takes power, or the friend takes power, or they get assassinated by someone underneath them and they take power, because that person is inevitably going to be less competent, and then the whole fucking thing starts to fall apart.
Same thing with kings and shit. It's basically the same system.
I mean, yeah, but nobility has more of a rich privilege sort of thing going on, where you don't kill the king because they're like... The king usually has some sort of noble divine birthright. This is why I'm saying it's...
Well, there's also, like you mentioned religion and shit, but, like, religion was the whole reason why some shit didn't instantly go to shit in the medieval age.
Oh, no, I'm not, don't get me wrong. Religion is a very useful tool to use against really stupid people. And I don't mean this in a negative way. I mean, I've played WoW, okay? I've been a raid leader on raids, and you would think you wouldn't have to tell people to not stand in fire because it deals damage to you. But you do. And then you explain that on this boss, he does some sort of ability that causes fire to occur, and you don't stand in it. And finally, after hours of explaining this over and over again, the amount of time this person has wasted on doing this boss fight, something finally clicks into their brain, and they stop standing in the fire for that boss fight. And then you finally make it to the next boss, and they do a different fire attack, and now you have to spend hours again explaining to this person why fire is still bad.
Fire bad.
Sometimes something clicks, okay? Occasionally, it just still doesn't, and they're still just dead weight, and we just kind of eventually beat the boss without them. But my point is that dumb people are just going to be dumb, period, inevitably. And so if they think that some sort of demon is going to drag them into eternal torture if they don't brush their teeth at night, and that makes them finally brush their teeth so they stop having their teeth rot and fall out, then that's what it takes. Now, in Warhammer, it's a little bit more serious, where actually, yes, if you do start worshipping chaos, your fucking teeth rot and fall out quite literally and get replaced with tentacles. And then your arms turn into penises. And then, your dick's an axe.
Yourself into thinking it's the actually best idea you had.
Exactly.
Well,
so...
Okay, no, but again... religion in Warhammer 40k, much like it is in D&D, is a completely different animal, because in 40k, if I go, oh Tzeentch, changer of ways, I will do XYZ if you will make me look like ABC.
I mean, that's more Slaanesh, right? But yeah.
No. Tzeentch specifically does body changes too.
Oh, okay.
Slaanesh is more for, I'm already beautiful, I will make myself more beautiful. Tzeentch is like complete body horror transformations. Sometimes it's just transforming into a normal person. Like,
that's fair.
It's weird.
No, yeah. I mean, like literally deals and shit. Yeah. But but my point though is like it's Warhammer makes it a little bit more obvious in the not following tenets of the religion area of bad things that occur.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, back to this fucking dog shit. It's just dog shit of stop trying to solve Warhammer is basically what my point is. Warhammer is specifically crafted to be a grimdark story. Stop trying to solve it, because then it's not a grimdark story anymore. It's just lame. It actually makes less sense if you try and solve Warhammer from being a grimdark story. Which is impressive, because they already got some sort of... Warhammer's already got a lot of bullshit running through, but making it less grimdark somehow makes it more bullshit.
Well, there's a point where grimdark just becomes grimderp.
Well, I mean, it does. I mean, and Worm's a great example of that.
I mean, there's lots of 40k that's an example of that.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Totally. But, it's just like, oh, well, everyone got together into peace and harmony. Warhammer, the future is endless war. Fanfiction authors, but how endless really is endless war? Yeah, literally. Rebirth of a dynasty. I woke up in galaxy at war in body that doesn't belong to me. In Warhammer, that's shockingly more often than you know.
I was gonna say that's quite common. Oh, I gotta say one thing that I saw that was someone I was talking to someone. The shit that happens for Imperial Saints is fucking horrifying. There's a book for Celestine. I didn't know this, but I'm gonna have to read it. But the way that Celestine comes back. So they describe her. She wakes up. She's somewhere she doesn't know. She doesn't know what's going on, and she's naked. And there is a pile of bodies in front of her, like a literal corpse mountain.
Right.
And she's walking along, and she finds beaten up pieces of armor, and she's putting them on. And she's basically having a fight with her inner demons, but they might also be the chaos gods.
Right.
And then you find out, and then she sees a light, and she's walking towards the light. And then you find out that, the pile of corpses is Celestine's.
Oh. Because she keeps getting reborn?
It's every time Celestine has died.
Ah, I see. Time for the next AO3 wonder. Reborn as a Slaaneshi demonette. Yeah. And people out here unironically you know, fucking standing up for Chaos Gods. You know, it's like one thing to try and lump your lot in with Chaos because, you know, you're stupid. Like, we just had a whole rant about stupid people, you know. You know, it's one thing to lump in your lot with Chaos because you're stupid. And you're like, oh man, I hate it here in this hive city. I get 1 cup of water a day. My liver is literally melting, and the you know the meat block tastes like Steve, because I'm pretty sure it is Steve. I hate it here.
Sneaky. It's not a meat block. It's corpse starch.
Indeed.
They don't even get meat blocks.
Yeah, true.
Just to make it worse.
Yeah. But you know, I can see someone in that sort of position being like, "Oh, fucking man, hell, I'm dying. My liver is literally turning into a pool of acid." And then Nurgle's like, "Hey, buddy, do you want to live?" And he's like, "Yeah, I want to live." And Nurgle's like, "All right, well, just, you know, praise me, and I'll make you happy and healthy." And he's like,
"Your liver's
right.
Still dying, but you just won't die from it.
Your kidneys are not livers." And you piss acid. Right?
But, or like the woman who's been working in the ammo shop all day for 6,000 days, and she hasn't slept in a week because someone somewhere needs more bullets, and her hands are covered in raw bleeding blisters because the material she's working with is caustic to hands.
Yeah.
And then one day she decides she's fucking had enough because this weird little voice in her head says, "Boy, you're really angry. Would you like to take that anger out on people and be rewarded for it?"
And just carve these runes into the bullets with your blood. You know. Yeah, I mean, that's basically how it is, you know. And it's like, I don't blame those people for those positions, because it's like, yeah, they're in shit positions and they don't really understand, and maybe they'll never be able to understand, even if you sat them down and explained it, what exactly happened. 'Cause I mean, you know, a lot of people, like, so there's another thing Warhammer does, is Warhammer canonizes the fact that there is actually an afterlife. Like, there is actually an afterlife. When you die, you go to it, and, you know, depending on the situation, you're either going to the Emperor, and who knows what the fuck happens when you actually get to the Emperor, but it's a lot better than whatever happens when you get to the Chaos Gods.
Oh, we do actually explicitly know what happens to the Chaos Gods.
That's what I'm saying.
Which is funny.
That's what I'm saying, though, is we don't really know what happens if you die and you go to the Emperor, but we definitely know what happens when you die and go to the Chaos Gods, and it ain't good. But, you know, so it's a lot of people can't even comprehend that in a world where an afterlife actually exists, and we have proof of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't blame dumb people for being dumb, but I can blame people on our side of the court, of this side of the book, of this side of the screen, who read these Warhammer stories and are like, yeah, you know, Nurgle just wants to help people. It's like, you fucking heretic, die. Unironically.
Thy end is now.
Like, we know what actually happens when you praise Nurgle in universe and then die. We know what happens. You know, we know what happens when
if
you
you're
worship
really
corn.
Lucky, you get made into a snack.
Yeah.
You get made into a snack and die instantly. That's your luckiest. You were erased from existence. That's your luckiest, like, possible fate.
Like, so this is actually a moment, right? So, I was reading a comic. It was a little fan comic where a guardsman's on some world. His girlfriend, sister of battle, is gone. She died in another conflict somewhere else. And he's, gunning down these fucking, the corpse fiends of Nurgle. And eventually he comes across a violated sister of battle and realizes that it's his girlfriend. And the sister of battle pauses when seeing him, and for like a moment, in this comic, of course, in a moment, like the soul trapped inside this violated body is like, wait a second, hold on, I recognize him. And she pauses instead of just gunning him down. And he's like, oh, I have to free her. I have to do it. I have to shoot her. And he's about to shoot her. And then she has a moment of, wait, I know what happens when you get captured by chaos. I know the tortures that will be inflicted upon him if he kills me here and then later on loses this battle. And so she raises her gun and kills him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, yeah. It's like, literally, it's better to die than end up with the Chaos Gods. And so but you have people in the real world legitimately sitting here being like, Slaanesh is right, Nurgle's right, Tzeentch is right, and it's like, oh my god, you have completely just missed the point.
People missing the point. Who could have guessed?
Yeah, I know. And still, it's those sorts of people that you gotta be careful, though. Because if they read a fucking 40k book and they agree with the Chaos Gods, it's like, oh, okay.
And like, here's the thing: there is on a technical level, on a very technical level, each of the Chaos Gods does technically represent something good in addition to something awful.
Yeah, well, because they represent the end, the most extreme.
Yeah.
They have like this has probably been done to death. Fucking Tzeentch is supposed to be change, whether it's good or bad. Nurgle is consistency. Khorne could technically be honor.
No,
and
Nurgle is
growth.
The cycle of life and death.
Yeah, Nurgle's growth.
Yeah,
Khorne is both anger. Is anger both justified and not? Rage both righteous and unholy.
And Slaanesh is pleasure in all forms.
Well, no, Slaanesh is the acknowledgement of pleasure and pain.
Yes. Sorry, yes. Slaanesh is pleasure and pain in all of its form. Like,
and it's like, yes, I mean, it's a thing. It's why the 4 god cults on a lot of Lost Worlds are a thing. It's because they do represent ideas that are generally good. Of, where Khorne gets portrayed as like the courageous knight. Slaanesh is portrayed as, I don't know, fucking what Slaanesh gets portrayed as, but Aphrodite probably. Tzeentch is portrayed as like the wise scholar who wields their knowledge to change and help people. And that sort of shit. And it's like, yeah, at the start, it's fine. And the problem, the literal fucking thing about the Chaos Gods is they are an allegory for extremism and why moderation is important. But, media literacy among the people who claim that media literacy is all they have is hilariously low.
I would say, right, and like, again, I hate to say it, but like, again, a fanfiction has a great example of it, right? It's in the All Guardsman Party. They land on a planet that the Imperium is bringing back into the fold, and there's a horrible murder jungle full of orcs in it, and there's a local Khorne cult. Which, yeah, you know what? You would be super happy that there's a bunch of 8-foot-tall, roided-out, angry dudes that you can hire to guide you around the jungle and murder orcs.
Yeah.
When you don't have guns.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, that dude can kill an orc with his bare hands like the orc can kill me with his bare hands. I want to hire him.
Yeah. And it's just like it's literally all of this taken to extreme, bad thing. And even the Imperium itself is the literal start of the Imperium, the Emperor going around and putting to torch all of religion was a bad thing because he went too far with it. Was it fine to crush out the shit where people were using religion as justification for abuse? Yes. But then he went even farther. He was like, oh, this church that's helping people and that's all they're doing is helping people in the name of, their false god. Well, you gotta burn that church down because religion is dumb.
And then we have the funny city that was built by Lorgar. And it's just like, I think.
Well, no. That one deserved to be burned down.
Yes, but the point is that originally the Emperor went around burning down all of religion because he hated religion, and he went too far with his hatred of religion. And then,
no, he didn't go too far. Okay, I want to be clear. As far as he's concerned, he didn't go too far because he was explicitly stamping out religion because he wanted to stamp out all religion to starve the Chaos Gods. Leaving aside the fact that won't work.
Well, I mean, yes, but also he did it because he believed that his Imperium should be based on reason and logic.
Yes, there was multiple compounding factors as to why he did it.
Right, but my point being is that.
Oh, how well did that work for him?
Terrible. Brave Knight defending his home, keeper of life and growth, wise scholar, Slanesh who knows. Yeah, that's why I said like Aphrodite or something. I don't know. But my point is that even the Imperium is a example of this cycle where the Emperor went so far in trying to exterminate religion that people still needed religion and ended up turning, you have your Mechanicus who ends up turning science into a religion. You have the Imperial cult who ended up turning the Emperor into the religion because the Emperor, and again, I don't know if this was intentional by the writers or not, because it's just fucking genius. But this is a thing that's actually an active problem with a lot of smarter people, in that they don't realize that people are stupid.
No. Okay, so that's a lot, right? The original Warhammer 40k, the original stuff, Rogue Trader and all that jazz, was written by a bunch of really smart people who were really good at satire, right?
Right.
You're not supposed to, right? We've covered it before, but media literacy. The Imperium aren't the good guys. They've never been the good guys, and anyone who thinks they're the good guys is stupid and wrong. Like,
unless they're
funny because of what GW is currently doing.
Unless they're memeing.
Yes, right. But anyone who unironically goes, the Imperium is the good guys,
right, is
horribly right.
Missing the
they
point.
Are a horrible, literal fascist dictatorship that's awful. And you shouldn't support the Imperium. Right? They are sacrifice all of your freedoms and all of your rights in the name of security, which we cannot guarantee, right? They cannot guarantee it.
Yeah, exactly. And they create horrible living conditions, but it's like they're literally doing the best they can with what they have.
Right, but the whole point is that it's right. It's still not acceptable, and you shouldn't support them.
Yeah, obviously.
Right. I know. I'm just saying, right? It's that thing of like, no, it's all awful. They're horrible. They're terrible. Don't support them. Blah blah blah. All that jet. Right. The Tau are a criticism of the greater good when taken to the most logical extreme of the greater good, but who's greater good, and who gets to decide who's part of the greater good.
Yeah, all Tau are equal except for some Tau who are more equal than others Tau.
Yeah. All Tau are equal except for these guys who are extra special equal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, every faction is and the Tyranids are about consumption. They consume, they grow.
No, the Tyranid. The problem is the Tyranids came in way later. I don't think the Tyranids are actually supposed to be a metaphor for anything. They were just like...
They're not. They're like, we wanted to have another Xenos faction.
No,
that was more
and I understand, but I'm saying you still can fit them into the larger chart with And I'm not trying to draw too deep, and I'm not saying like the metaphor with when it comes to Tyranids you could pull out are going to be deep. The Tyranids are just about overconsumption.
Yeah.
Where the Tyranids could take over worlds and, draw out the resource consumption over a long period of time to get a continuous passive feed for food, but instead their raw hunger causes them to cause those worlds to never be able to support life again.
Yeah.
In their bid for short-term gain. And so, like I said, you can draw some metaphor out of them. It's just not going to be very deep. But,
yeah,
like I was saying, smart people have a problem where they think everyone else reasons like they do. Eldar, for their metaphor is more about Utopia, the Rat Utopia experiment, if you've ever heard of that one.
Yeah, the Eldar are quite literally the Rat Utopia experiment because they had everything. They quite literally had everything.
Yeah, the Eldar are about what happens when you no longer have challenges.
Well, it's not just when you no longer have challenges. It's about the dangers of continual indulgence.
Oh,
right.
Yeah,
now,
sure.
part of that is because they had no challenges, right? But
right, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
They created Slanesh, god of hedonistic indulgence. Like,
right. Well, I mean, and that's exactly what happens in the Rat Utopia experiment is when food is taken care of, when safety is guaranteed, when there's no more survival pressures for the creature to fight against existence to reproduce, it goes insane because it's not made for that sort of environment. Yeah. And literally the Eldar were just that, where a portion of them sectioned off and became the pretty ones who just consistently groomed themselves more and more until they just fucking killed themselves out of sheer grooming. You had the ones that just kept indulging more and more in more and more extreme sexual acts. You had rats that would just go off and just stop reproducing. And they would just they would go about their routine every day of like, I go to the food trough, I eat, I groom myself a mild amount, I go to the center where all the other rats are, and I just fucking sit there. That's it. Because there is no point to existing, effectively.
Yes.
And then what they found from this Rat Utopia experiment, to continue with how the Eldar are portrayed, is that if you take the rats from the Rat Utopia experiment and then place them back into an environment where things are going to shit again, where, the food isn't guaranteed anymore, and the rats have to, run from predators again, they don't. They don't change. And even the ones that do end up reproducing, even their children are still slow to change to the new environment. And ultimately, any rat from the Rat Utopian experiment dies out.
Yeah. Now, I will say there is they have done more Rat Utopia experiments, and they found that, like, if you give them if you remove the violent individuals early enough in the process, then some of the rats will go back to Utopia. Like, they will stop sabotaging each other.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting. There's a lot of very interesting Rat Utopia studies done, but point being is that's the Eldar's metaphor and foundation. So it's not so much about the extremes, because you already covered most of the extremes with the Chaos Gods and with the Imperium, and like I said, with the cycle of the Emperor and how he was someone who had a heightened intelligence and didn't understand that people, when placed into a new environment without religion and with reason and logic, they wouldn't just start thinking like him. They wouldn't just start using reason and logic to guide their actions. They would just turn reason and logic into their new religion.
Well, and then of course you have to add on the compounding fact of, wait, shit, there are actually things that go bump in the night. They want to eat my actual literal soul.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, yes, that's the other problem, and again, that does sort of come down to the smart person issue of the smart person doesn't really realize, themselves. They aren't self-aware to that point, where the Emperor going around glowing gold, shielding souls from the Chaos Gods is like, yeah, guys, I'm not a god, I'm not divine, don't
But that's
worship
just it. Even
me.
that's the thing. He actually doesn't. So the okay. So the very first person who started the Imperial cult was
Lord
a
R.
remembrancer named Euphrates Keeler, whatever. And the whole point was, there were already people starting to sort of worship the Emperor as a god. And that was a big no-no, obviously, because what are you doing? Religion is stupid. You're stupid. The Emperor isn't a god. He's told us 1,000 times he's not a god, etc., etc. But what happens is that, I forget why, but they're fighting. They are up against an actual demon, and she had gone to one of the cult meetings, and she got the book, right? The book
Right.
talking about how the Emperor's divine, and she was kind of like, hey, maybe he is a god. And she held this book up in front of the demon and was like, get away, and it worked.
Right.
And so then she, believe it or not, this is where the Emperor's thing actually shot him in the foot. She then engaged in logic and reason of, I just saw something that I do not understand and cannot fathom. I also just repelled it with a phenomena that I do not understand and cannot fathom. Therefore, the Emperor is a god and demons are real.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, though.
Fucking Uriah is literally spinning in his grave so fast he could power all of Terra.
Then, look, that's what I'm saying, though, is it turns into, inevitably, it gets more and more extreme. And, and you actually can see this, you can see the Mechanicus cult happen in real life, actually. At a lot of positions. I'm sure actually Atin could tell you about this. Is engineering positions where the new engineer gets inducted into the ranks, and the engineers that already are there teach him, oh, you got to turn this lever when that starts whistling, so then that thing does that thing. And yeah, eventually they might learn why they have to turn the wheel to make the thing that does the whistling, but they're usually too busy maintaining everything to learn why the transflux device needs to whistle every 30 minutes.
And so it becomes, I do this because it is decreed.
Effectively. And then, so when the next person comes in, they're taught, turn this every 30 minutes, whistle happens. And then the next person comes in, and it's just turn this every 30 minutes, the holy whistle blows. And it just keeps evolving more and more, because the person who initially knew what was going on was only able to pass on so much information. Even if they tried to give the entire reason as to how the machine worked to the next person, maybe that person didn't entirely understand 100% of it. So maybe they had 98% understanding, and the next person got 97% understanding, and the next person got 90 understanding, and the next person had 85% understanding. And eventually you're going to end up with people who have a 10% understanding of what's even going on, but they know how to press the button, push the wheel, and turn the lever to make the thing do the thing they want to happen. Gen Zer's job seeker refused to do a 90-minute task for free, and the CEO bitched on Twitter, and now everyone's dumping on him.
Yeah. Fuck him.
No, okay. I see both sides of that argument, right? So conjure a story here, to keep the fan fiction argument going. So conjure a story here. One person on one end of the stick is going through 100 job applications, and they need to figure out which of these 100 people they are going to hire for the one position they have open. They got to figure out a way to narrow this down. So they have interviews. They talk to the person. They get a feel for them. All right, so we got 50 people left. Okay, so now that I understand that these 50 people could generally, gel with the environment of the company or whatever, and they seem good enough on paper and just talking to them, I now need them to jump through this hoop, and I need to see how well they jump through this hoop, because they're going to be jumping through this hoop a whole fucking lot at this job, and so if they can't jump through this hoop good, I don't need them. I get that, but flip side of that argument, you're applying for 100 jobs, and every one of those 100 jobs want you to jump through that fucking hoop. And it's just like, oh my god, I don't want to jump through 100 hoops so I can get hired for one job.
Why are you trying to get hired? I don't know. Shit, man. I like food.
Yeah, right. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Hopefully with a fucking job.
Fuck, motherfucker, I'm broke.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Maybe promoted. I don't know, man. If I knew where I was gonna be in 10 years, I'd be playing the stock market.
Right, and like, right, and again, it's even part of pushing back against, like, I hate to say it, but like, the kind of work ethic that our parents' generation had of take care of the company and the company take care. No, we all know that's bullshit.
Yeah, we all know that's bullshit now, but I mean, back in the day, it used to be like that, where it's like, this company, they're going to be loyal to you, and you need to be loyal back to the company, because they're going to employ you for the next 60 years of your life, and then you're going to retire nicely. Except our generation, and the generation coming after us, eat shit, Zoomers, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't know. How good is your tenure?
Yeah. And what's your turnover rate?
Yeah, and I mean, that's the other thing, is the turnover rate is fucking real for our generation, because...
So why did you leave your last job? I don't know. Why did the person who worked here last leave this job?
Yeah, right, exactly. And it's like, the companies are underpaying.
Did you conduct an exit interview?
Yeah, right. The companies are underpaying. They're trying to squeeze every last drop of work out of someone, and instead of encouraging to contribute every last drop of work, they threaten, they cajole, they pressure, they go, hey, by the way, we've changed your schedule. This is your new schedule. No, you can't change it. You're just gonna work this now. And it doesn't help that the people that are, air quotes, trying to help are like, oh, we just need to raise the minimum wage. Because that obviously doesn't help. Because if everyone has to start paying all of their employees more money, then everything's going to cost more. Congratulations. Now your position hasn't changed, and now companies are making less money, which means they're going to fire more people. And now you have to do more work. Dipshit.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing. It's. I mean, one, wages do need to go up. Like, look, you can talk about raising minimum wage or not, right? But it's a fact that wages have not kept up with inflation.
Oh,
period.
Well, 100% obviously, but we also currently have 30 million people in this country illegally that are ruining the ability for wages to keep up.
Yes, I was gonna say there's a bunch, right? As much as I hate to admit that people on the left are correct, right? They are correct in that everything's interconnected.
Oh yes, obviously.
There's a bunch of people who are working cheap, who are willing to work for cheap and under the table, which employers are incentivized to do because they're trying to make money.
Right.
I mean, we have a solution for this. It's called Annex Mexico.
Well, I mean, that too.
No, that doesn't solve the solution. In fact, it makes it worse.
Actually, no, it does solve it partially, because the point being is that once all of these people become U.S. citizens, they're going to be required to follow the paperwork to hire them, because they're going to be sending money.
It would also remove the current government of Mexico, which is only slightly more corrupt than the U.S. one.
I mean, not really. I mean, they're kind of in bed with the cartels, which...
Sneaky, there is literal... Okay, I'm not going to go with it.
Anyway, but right, the other part of the problem is, right, the way that the economy, right, it's a fundamental issue with the way our economy is set up right now, is that it
Right.
rampantly incentivizes corporate profits, and right, somehow me, Sneaky, and Nose can't afford to buy a house, despite the fact that 40, 50 years ago, our grandparents were buying houses with half our salaries, right?
Which, I mean, you can literally blame the boomers for, because the boomers don't want to sell their house for around the same price they bought their house, because they want to make more money.
I would say that's absolutely part of the problem. But the other part of the problem is that, right, you have the cost of living is skyrocketing, and prices on consumer goods keep going up, and they say we're not making money, and yet you have, right, pick a company name posting record profits, posting record dividends.
Well, I mean, yeah, again, it's a system of extremes.
Well, they're not making enough money.
No, it's not even that. It's a system of extremes that were taken too far, because people who don't understand economy were put into positions of power to control the economy. And what it is that CEOs are brought on with the idea that the company needs to make money and grow, because, you know, CEOs, specifically for companies that have CEOs, are shareholding companies, which means that they have, again, a initial idea. A company should produce money to pay back the people for investing in the company. A sensible declaration, right? Hey, I'm going to give you $20 today to make your lemonade stand. I would appreciate it if I got $25 back when you've made, money on your lemonade stand idea. Totally understandable, totally reasonable. You are devoting some of your income to a possible success, and then when it becomes successful, you would like some of that income back.
And you recognize that it's not a guarantee that you will have success, or that the other guy will have success.
Right.
He could lose, not even through any fault of his own.
Yeah.
At the lemonade, right? It could be that the guy who starts the lemonade stand is he makes great lemonade, but he's kind of ugly and people don't want to look at him. And then the super attractive dude down the street who looks like not Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt's
who
fine.
looks like I was
Hemingway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Someone even more conventionally attractive, right? But and he makes, honestly, lemonades that's kind of bad, but
he laces his lemonade with Coke.
But he doesn't even lace it with Coke. He just looks better.
Yeah, no, I know.
He looks better. He's more charismatic.
But yeah, things just happen and things just fail, and it just is what it is. And yeah, so I mean, it makes sense. But the problem comes down to, the fact that the people now investing and the people now working the company don't understand, and the people enforcing the laws don't understand the spirit of the law. The spirit of the law is that if I invest money in you, I would want some of that money back over time as you succeed. But what's now the current practice is, if you made $1 billion this quarter, you need to make $1.1 billion next quarter, because despite the fact that I've not invested in your company any more than I already have, you would be earning me less money by not making more profit.
Yes.
And so you're not doing your duty to return larger profits to your investors, which again is an original idea taken to the extreme by people who don't understand the system. And then again, it goes to the CEO. So that brings it to the CEOs. Why are CEOs the way they are? Why are they paid so much money? They're paid so much money because they have the connections, they have the ideas, they're used as fucking smoke screens, and their life might be over with whatever bullshit the board tries to pull. There is literal shark CEOs out there. Their only job is to come in, fuck a whole bunch of shit up so changes can actually occur, and then they get, air quotes, fired for incompetence. With a very generous severance package of, hey, you might never get hired again due to this scheme that we just did, but you're set for life now. Here you go.
Did someone say Unity?
Right. Unity, nah, bro. Look at the Embracer Group. Like that guy. They've now closed like 6 studios and sectioned them off and done X, Y, and Z because we need to do this.
The problem, again, Embracer Group's problem is that they bought too many studios with no guaranteed profit down the line because they thought they were going to get deals based on, over the food meetings. Nothing was ever inked when they started buying all of these companies. And then, on top of that, instead of Embracer just allowing these companies to produce the games they were famous for, they kept shuffling around these companies to be like, all right, I know you're famous for making a single-player game, but you're now going to be making a multiplayer PvP-only game.
And yeah, what was it they had FromSoft working? Didn't they have, FromSoft working on a fucking extraction shooter?
It was, the team that originally made Titanfall, they had working on a single-player survival game. And it's just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Just let the company... Oh, yeah, and then they had the single-player story-rich experience developers, I think, who were originally behind Batman, the original Batman series, Arkham Asylum series. They had
those guys
go on and make a multiplayer PvP game, PvP only game with no story in it. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
No, they didn't have them make the multiplayer. They had them make the looter shooter.
Right, the looter shooter, yeah. And it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why? And it's like, oh, well, looter shooters are the most popular right now, and we need an infinite revenue game. And it's just like, and this is what I'm talking about, because CEOs get bonuses to their pay based on certain qualification checklists that they have to follow each quarter. And so obviously the CEO is incentivized by bonuses. Who wouldn't be? But the problem is again, it's taken to the stupid extreme of stupid clown world that we live in now, where the CEOs are like, okay, so we only made $500 million in net profit this quarter, but we need to make $750 million for me to get my bonus of the extra $2 billion. So what I'm gonna do is
lay off 70 people.
I'm gonna go fire 7,000 people and cut everyone's salaries. So you fucking moron. And then, what, next quarter you didn't make any profit now because you fired all the people that made you profit. Dipshit. But so it's a long chain of, it has the right idea, but everyone involved was too stupid to realize that stupid people would eventually be in those positions. And so, yeah, and it's the same thing for the fucking healthcare system. It's the same reason why college is ridiculous now. It's the same reason why a bunch of different things in America are just so clown world bullshit with their stuff. It's because stupid people got into positions of power and didn't understand the purpose of some things. And then the smart people who were greedy were like, I'm only going to live 70 more years. Why wouldn't I just extract resources from this? Fuck everyone else.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. Like it's the boomers had all the economic opportunity in the world, and they decided that they were going to kick the ladder down after them.
Yeah. I want reforms passed so that workers could sue the board in cases like this.
Clearly, it was just their kids that caused that problem because they didn't let them drink enough wine.
Yes, I do agree. Even as someone who is anarchist, capitalist, libertarian, whatever flavor of the day the name gets slapped on that section of the political compass. Yeah, I do agree there needs to be some sort of better system set up for the workers interacting with the upper management. Because I mean, I've worked a lot of jobs. I didn't coast by on daddy's and mommy's money. I I was homeless for a while. But I've been there. I've done the shit jobs, and I still stand by the fact that minimum wage is a stupid fucking idea. Tipping culture is a stupid fucking idea.
And I mean, no one's gonna argue that.
More businesses need to die. Just period. More businesses need to die. Like, I'm sorry, but if you can't afford to pay your waitresses and cooks and etc. staff enough money to run the restaurant without relying on your customers to tip their way into being able to survive off that wage, because again, keep in mind the typical
business deserves to go out of business.
Yeah, I mean, the typical wait staff is going to be young kids. They're going to be either kids or they're going to be in college, and they're doing this job in between to earn a little bit of extra money on the side, and it's not supposed to be something you live off of. It's just not. It never was meant to be. You were never meant to live off of being a wait staff. You just weren't. Now, sure, being a wait staff at a very fancy hotel where there was very rich people, and the very rich people were like, here's $300. You look very spiffy today, peasant. You made me giggle. And now, I mean, obviously, I'm making fun of them, but
Yeah.
no, there is rich people that are just like, hey, thanks for carrying my bags up. I know it's kind of your job, but you do a lot of work here, so here's an extra 100. I know rich people who do that, and all power to them. But at the end of the day, it does make working at the very fancy hotel a lot easier when you have 5 rich people a day tipping you an extra $500 onto your paycheck.
Also, here's the thing, Sneaky. While you are correct, it may not have started that way, as meant to be a livable thing. Here's the problem: we've transitioned into a service-based economy.
And that was a major mistake done by idiots.
I agree. Totally agree. Doesn't matter.
Oh, I'm aware. But just because that's where we are now doesn't mean that we have to stay there, and doesn't mean we have to just work within the system to make service-based economy somehow fucking function. Because the entire reason why the service-based economy even works is because we are outsourcing everything to the sheer extreme where everything is so cheap to pay for on the business side that we can actually afford to pay a lot of people to do service jobs. Because as someone who worked at ICE for a while,
I still can't believe you actually worked at ICE.
The Mexicans coming over the border, I'm gonna use that as a broad ablative. I don't know the word I'm supposed to be using there. A broad stroke. The Mexicans coming over the border that work in the U.S. illegally, they're lucky to see $1 a week. Like 20 of them live in a single apartment. A normal apartment that only fits 1 according to the apartment complex. 20 people live in it. They have people sleeping in the shower.
Oh yeah. There's a block of apartments behind my house that used to be really, it's since come under new management, and they imposed humane living standards because someone came through and they saw what it was like. I mean, it was not good.
Yeah.
Like Sneaky said, it would be a one family apartment, and there might be 9, 10, 12 people in there.
Yeah. And now, to be fair, I also brought this up with Max recently. They did actually prove that like 70% of the rental companies and businesses for apartment complexes in the U.S. were using a algorithm called RealPage, and RealPage collected corporate data. Not corporate data. It's corporate data, but it's confidential data, like the income rates of the people staying in the apartment complex and shit like that. And normally, only the apartment owner would have access to that sort of thing. But because they used RealPage, they had to submit all of that data to RealPage for their algorithm. And what RealPage did it would coordinate rent increases, forcing everyone to pay the increased rent because all of the apartments.
So it would do an illegal monopoly.
Yes, it would create.
It was price fixing.
Yeah, it was price fixing, but because it was being done by an algorithm, the laws weren't ready for it yet and weren't capable of understanding, interpreting, or catching it. And it's only recently, like 3 weeks ago, that the FEC, I think it was FEC.
Do you mean the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission?
Yeah, FTC. The FTC just recently started a lawsuit against and made progress in a lawsuit against RealPage, basically establishing that if your algorithm does something that is illegal to do if a human did it, it's illegal. And what they saw was this algorithm ended up raising rent in like states like Arizona. The rent raised 176% over 4 years.
Oh yeah, right. And here's the thing. Here's the second part of, you have to make that illegal, and then the other thing you have to do is then say, and all of these price hikes are forcibly reverted, and you cannot raise them for 10, 15 years, right? You have to, and this is the important part. People will go, but how will those companies survive?
Perish.
They won't. They'll perish, and they'll go out of business from the punishment they receive.
And that's the other thing that I do believe. I do believe the fine system, because again, the fine system was created back in the day when fining someone $100 was like a big fucking deal. And so these companies are doing multi-billion-dollar level crimes, and they're being slapped with the harshest fine possible of $300,000. And companies are like, yeah, that's just a fucking check write-off. And that's the thing, is that to fix that sort of system, what you need to do for the fines is you need to make a punitive fine where they get slapped with, $1 million in fine, but also all of their profits are forfeit.
Yeah.
So they're not just making $20 million, they're losing $20 million and owe $5. Fuck you. Don't commit crime. The soft system, and obviously businesses lobbied their way in, and you can make lobbying illegal, but it doesn't matter, because what level of investigation you have to do on every single politician of like, oh, well, this politician's brother's roommate's uncle works at this business, so they can't be a politician now? It's like, okay, well, like, what level of ridiculousness do we have to go to separate it? Lobbying's just going to happen. Doesn't mean lobbying should be legal, but you're not going to stop lobbying with laws. You just have to make smarter people be in the system for longer. And that's going to be really hard.
Well, and a huge part of that is going to be both age and term limit, right?
Yeah.
I forget what it was, but I think it was 10 years ago, there was a guy who was on what's the internet one?
What?
The Internet Commission?
What the net neutrality thing?
The net neutrality commission.
Yeah. I have no idea what they're actually called. All I know is they're the fucking dipshits who don't know how email works.
Yeah. But there was a guy who was like 95 and didn't understand any of it.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
And he was allowed to vote on it.
Yeah.
And he's fucking 90. He's gonna vote for whichever guy gives him the biggest pile of money and tells him it's still okay to beat his wife.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the flip side of that argument is also the fact that you have a bunch of 18-year-olds out here who don't know a single thing about economy, and they vote for the person who says they're going to give them the most money.
Yeah.
So, you know, yes, term limits are important, but increasing the general intelligence of the voter base is also important. And unfortunately, increasing the general intelligence of the voter base is not going to occur by increasing the amount of voters. It's going to occur by decreasing the amount of voters. Just how it is. But back to fan fiction and other fictional realities that aren't the current clown world.
Yeah, that was a hell of a derail.
It was, but I mean, it's important stuff to think about. It's important stuff to think about, period. But especially if you're fucking writing a story, and you want to try and write an economic system, don't try. Just use a trope extreme. Just use the medieval trope. Just don't try and make a full thought out economic system, because the problem is with that is no one's gonna believe it. As depressing as it is, no one's gonna believe a well thought out economic system.
I mean, I wouldn't
well
believe
thought out
it
economy, the
because
greatest fan fiction of all.
Yeah,
it won't work.
Yeah.
At some point, it will just fail.
Yeah, there is going to be, and that's the thing though, is when you include more detail and stuff. Including more detail is a great way of pulling the reader's attention to it. And if you put an extreme amount of detail into, say, your country's economy in your fan fiction, well, not even fan fiction, just fiction in general, if you put a great amount of detail into how it operates and how it works, people will start paying attention to it, which means that unless you're capable of predicting literally every single interaction of 100,000 different things that you mention in your story, people are going to find flaws. And they're going to point out those flaws. And then you're just going to look dumber to everyone else because you tried to put the real ring-a-ding-ding on the economy, and you brought everyone's attention to it, and then it turns out that your float was built on a pile of shit because actually one part of your entire economy basis you just completely didn't think about, and you overlooked it, and now it makes you look like a fool instead of a smart, funny guy who writes a good story.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I did actually want to talk about something.
Oh no.
So I finished the Fallout show.
Okay.
And I need to ask, like, please don't take this the wrong way, Sneaky.
Yep.
But did you at least read a synopsis of it, or was the only thing you got from it someone from an angry YouTube channel?
It was someone from real life who watched it and told me about it while we were smoking.
Okay. Better. But I think they missed some really important stuff. So,
fair.
The experiment in Vault 31, or whatever it was, 31, 33, whatever, was not capitalism bad. In fact, it was a special and different kind of hell. It was, can we make the perfect manager?
That is a special kind of hell. And no, I didn't say capitalism bad was the point of the Vault experiment. I said that was the reveal.
The point of that was the other point of the show.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not like that's new to Fallout. I said this right, but like, in the original, I don't remember if it was Fallout 1 or Fallout 2, right? Lots of people speculate on who and what caused the bombs to drop. And was it the government? Was it America? Was it China? Was it Russia? Was it someone else? Was it a corporation? Literally, they don't know. And they do at least give an explanation as to how so many different things were gotten away with from the vaults. Gotten away with in the vaults, because they were like, cool, Vault Tech invited all the big, like, science names, right?
Oh yeah. No, I always knew that. Yeah.
And so they put that in the meeting. The explanation for why Shady Sands was blown up was
dumb.
No, okay. It makes sense when you've watched the full show. So the way that the vault experiments happened up, and the way they actually tried to bring a little bit of logic to just how fucking wild those vault experiments were, was right. So you have Big Mountain, West Tech, Robco, Vault Tech, all those guys, right?
Right.
They were all given, like, we have hundreds of vault. We'll let you guys have some to do whatever you want.
Sure. Yeah.
And
it's an effective way of bribing people.
Yeah, and they said you can do whatever experiments you want with no oversight. No one will ever know, and no one will ever find out. Well, what if someone does find out? Well, that's easy. We cause nuclear war because we'll be safe. Like, so yes, on some level it is capitalism evil, but it was much more human selfishness.
Yeah, my problem was more in classic Hollywood dog shit writer fashion. They explained the thing that didn't need explaining. Because, like,
I'll give you that.
Why did the bombs fall? Was it the U.S.'s greed? Was it China's greed? Did someone else do it? Was it a rogue agent? Like, why did it happen? What was there a subversive faction in either government? Like pushing the war on? That's like a question that can just hang and be an interesting backdrop to the whole story. But being there, sitting there, be like, yes, we are evil people. We all have agreed. We are now in the meeting of evil people. We have all agreed to cause nuclear war because we are evil and like torturing babies.
Yeah, I was gonna say it definitely had like the evil meeting vibe going on. But what I will say is, they at least were smart enough not to show it. They have a meeting where someone goes, okay, but what if we get caught? And the answer is, well, then we'll just drop the nuke. We'll just have we'll just cause nuclear Armageddon. They don't actually show those people causing nuclear Armageddon.
Right. But I mean, the heavy implication now that you've established someone saying it
absolutely
really
but they
just
at least
kills
had the intelligence not to show it. But sorry, real quick, back up as to why Shady Sands got nuked.
Right.
Was because the guy in the vault, the guy who started the Vault Tech experiment for Manager Hell, was, can we make the perfect manager? And it was, time is how America's going to win. He was like all in on the vaults because he's like, we will be America's future will be safe in the vaults from America's enemies, and we will simply outlast them. They will all die in nuclear fire, and we will be safe. And everybody from all of the overseers have come from Vault 31, which is actually just cryo storage for senior managers from Vault Tech.
Right.
So whenever they need a new overseer, they just de-ice another Vault Tech manager.
Sure.
I mean, and so when that guy was de-ice, right? So that's how they kept a consistency of thought.
Sneaky, you're basically addressing why I hated The Last of Us Part 2 with how they ruined the ambiguity of Joel choosing to save Ellie. Yeah.
Yes, and?
I mean, it's a very common issue in common writing that is happening right now, is that it's I'm gonna use this term. It's not gonna be correct, but you're gonna realize that I'm right anyway. Reddit atheists think they can rationalize and logic literally everything, and they don't understand the concept of mystery. And they think everything needs to be explained with rational logic. Because they're rational logic men. And women and trans people or whatever. But, point being, is that they hate the idea of mystery, because mystery means something not explained, which means you need to just have faith and believe in something. Which they hate. And so they make all of these series have everything explained in them, because everything needs to be explained, and that way people will know that they made the better product because they explained everything. Go back in time and kill Hitler. No, we must kill Harry Potter and the methods of rationality. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. God, I mean, you see some of the videos coming out of Europe these days. But point being though is that these Reddit atheists are trying to write stories that aren't stories. Because I mean, there is a certain appeal to writing your theory. Oh, you could make a whole YouTube channel about. Yeah, you could make a whole YouTube channel about it. Maybe 4.
1,000.
For that, yes.
You're gonna say only 4?
There is a certain appeal to writing your theory about a mystery in a series. But the key part there is that it's your theory based on the information you put together. You know, hopefully you put that information together and didn't just watch everyone else's theories and then take the bits you liked to mash yours together. But hey ho! Anyway, there is an appeal to that, and it's understandable. But the problem is that there is a substantial difference between explaining everything as a third-person theorizer who is looking upon the work and is trying to decode what's inside it, and being the crafter of the lore and being like, nah man, I hate ciphers. I am just gonna have all of my characters explain everything they do like they're fucking Elcor. And you see this very often. You see this very often in modern media, where the characters just explain what they're doing, why they're doing it, and everything needs to have a reason to it. I mean, actually, a great example is the Has Been Hotel, is where they actually had a moment of, like, good comedy being derived from how unself-aware they were. Because they had a character come in like the first or second episode of Has Been Hotel, and they had him basically just fucking dumpster all of the main cast by explaining all of their problems. And just being like, oh wow, yeah, I'm gonna really listen to the princess with daddy issues because your life was so hard, wasn't it, princess? You know, shit like that, and you just went through the whole fucking main cast and just dumpstered all of them. But the author of the show didn't do it to be funny. They did it because they wanted to explain their characters' motivations in a way that didn't look like they were just trying to explain their characters' motivations. And so what they did was they had the show script get mocked by the characters in the show to explain all of the characters in the show to the audience. But as they were doing the mocking, they didn't realize the audience wasn't laughing with them. The audience was laughing at them. Because it was quite literally a moment of, I was just pretending to be retarded, guys. Watch me do this retarded thing. Just remember, though, I'm only pretending to be retarded while doing it. It's like, you're still doing it, though. It's a bunch of smoke and mirrors kind of shit. Yes, it is. And it's really poorly implemented because, again, they have to explain everything. And it would make more sense if, like, it was a subtle joke or jab self-depreciation going on in the show. It would be more interesting if that's how they were doing it. But it wasn't that. It was specifically there so they could explain to you, the watcher, things that they shouldn't need to just outright state. You know, there's a mystery. I spend the vast majority of my life pretending to be retarded to the point it has become a natural state to me. Man, I didn't know you found a picture of Nose. And so it's something that, I mean, you see a lot of fiction these days end up in this position where they try to explain everything. And they don't understand why South Park was funny. They don't understand why American Dad had its moments, or why Family Guy had its moments. And so they just try to mash it in as in, like, oh, this is what they did and they were funny, so I'm just going to do what they did without understanding why. For a moment, I expected you to take a pot shot of me instead of Nose. Well, why would I take a pot shot of you? It says pretending to be retarded in there. Killionaire went in for it as well. But yeah, I mean, like I said, to bring it all fucking back around to fanfiction, I mean, you see it all in here. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna fix 40k. Oh, what's this one? I'm gonna fix 40k. Oh, what's this one? Oh, the Empire, fucking Terran Empire. Jesus Christ. Fucking Imperial.
Tyranid Empire.
Imperium. Oh, Imperium bad. Emperor useless. I'm gonna save everyone because I'm cooler and better than the Emperor. An Age of Sigmar fanfic. Cringe. Here's my thoughts on female custodies. Seriously, bro? You made 2 chapters of 700 words each for this?
Bruh?
A, no one cares what your thoughts on female custodies are. B,
fans wrote female custodies. Man, this dude is getting fucking dumpstered by the reviews. Jesus Christ. Ah, yes, your typical NPC, you just don't like women, you incel response. Followed by insulting all fans of 40k as neckbeards. How very original. Coming from someone who claims to not be a National Socialist, who's in denial about being National Socialist, and he calls out other national people for being National Socialists. No one actually cares about women being in custodies, although it makes no sense at all. with everything.
I would say that's the thing. Guess what? Just recently, I was at a 40K team event. Do you want to know precisely how many people talked about it?
No, 1.
0.
Okay. Daring
0
today, aren't we? Yeah.
Not a single one of them. Because nobody gave a fuck.
It's not even about it. It's the fact that you lied. It's like it's not about what you said. It's about that you lied about what you said.
Yeah, I think I made a suggestion to Atin and Gray that they agreed with, which is like frame it as if Malkador was saying this. Because he would totally hide.
Yeah.
He would totally. He would hide them
asshole.
away. He would hide them away in hyperspace. Like, listen, press this button if there's ever like serious shit going down. Of course, they lose the key for 10,000 years. Fine. It's like, oh, that's different. As they unlock 1,000 custodies that were on layaway.
And some of them happen to be female or something. Yeah, it's just like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
because I don't. Here's the thing. I'm not big into Warhammer lore. I got things I like that are fucking cool. The knights and the way they run their worlds. Those are fucking sick. Sisters of Battle. Those are cool. Almost everything about the Imperial Guard. Fucking cool. I still knew enough to be like, what if you just have Malkador saying this and not a
The
writer
best
saying
part
this?
is Malkador went and made the fucking custody, or made the fucking Grey Knight.
Yeah. Well, and the Primaris Marines too, right?
No, that was Belsarius' call.
Sorry, my bad. Anyway, point being though is like either one you could have ended up having doing this, right? Like either they get locked away,
that was my
or
suggestion.
they get fucking cracked by Belsarius, whatever. Point being though is there is excuses as to why they suddenly showed up. That's fine, and honestly, the in-universe the Watsonian reason as to why there shouldn't be female Space Marines and there shouldn't be female custodies is because when you have a limited resource, you need to use it in a limited fashion. Which means you need to take the best of the best of the best of the best of the best and only apply that limited resource to those people. Which, unfortunately, in this specific case, 1 million out of 1 million times doesn't include women. But if you're, say, unlocking an ancient technology cache from the 30K era where they had such an abundance of resources to produce such troops, why not include some women? Because they were the top percentage of women.
Like, especially when you're dealing with the level of enhancement that the custodians do, okay, maybe this male custodian is 5% faster. Right?
Which
or 5% stronger.
Pretty intense considering the numbers you're working with.
But that one's 5% faster. Oh, but the female recruits are 5%. Or the male recruits are 5% stronger, but the female recruits are 5% faster, and they're better at dodging. So guess what? They have Eldar duty.
I mean, that's a very tired sci-fi trope and very cringy, but I understand where you're trying to go with it.
I'm not saying it's not a tired, cringy. Okay, but all of 40K is tired, cringy sci-fi tropes.
I know. My point was more along the lines of it's a proven untrue trope that is specifically used so we can include women into...
And that's the thing. But and ultimately what annoys me is you don't have to do that. Like, you can just be like, yes, you know what? They took the best of the best of the best of the best of the best, and guess what? You can say that 10%, 5%, 15%, whatever. Make a percentage that you want and stick to it because they beat out the... Because guess what? They came from the noble sons of Terra. And you know what you can do? You can be like, yeah, they came from the noble sons of Terra. And a lot of them were fucking spoiled assholes that didn't know the left side of their thumb from the right side. So then they started taking some of the women.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a whole bunch of ways you can roll it. And it's just like... And then I saw another one, because I think the idea of it all being a Zinch plot's a pretty cool way they could have pushed it. But like I saw another one of someone just like, yes, the male superhuman soldier and the female
and
superhuman
they're both
soldier,
just
it's literally the same picture. And it's like, yeah, it's because if you literally strip away everything that's not needed to make them a superhuman soldier, then they both just end up looking the exact same. Yeah. So
like, because guess what? This is a really important bit of lore for Space Marines. Space Marines don't have junk.
Yeah.
Literally, they don't.
Like,
that's an old bit of lore. Is that part of becoming a Space Marine means that the hormone stuff you go through gets rid of your cock and balls.
Which is actually based on real life shit as well, by the way. In case anyone was wondering, if you do those various performance enhancing drugs, you grow tits and your cock and balls kind of start shriveling up. They don't go away, but they start shriveling up because it turns out when you fuck with your body's hormones levels, weird shit starts happening. Because it turns out, wild fact, humans evolved to have a certain range of hormone tolerance, and if you exit that range, weird shit happens. Wild. Ugh, unacceptable sign.
Why is he only just now explaining this at 9:17?
Probably because he just got access to his phone. But yeah, it was more about how they lied, about saying, oh, well, actually, it was always like this. It's like you have in-universe 99 ways to explain this, and you went with the one way that no one would accept. You fucking idiots. Which, however, is not surprising when you learn that stupid people can't come up with things, and they can only corrupt what already exists. He needs permission to post? No, yes, yeah, he's old, yeah. No, he doesn't need permission to post. It's kind of just rude to take your phone out in the middle of dinner and start, reading Discord. He's not a Zoomer. He's the far opposite of a Zoomer, He makes boomers look young. But yeah, as this reviewer continues to bring up, it's not about 40K. It's not about women being in 40K. It's about power. It's about the ability for them to push their ideas onto whatever culture exists. They do it with Star Wars. They did it with Doctor Who. They did it with Star Trek. It doesn't matter the series. It's not about anything inside the series. It will never be about anything inside the series. It's just about their ability to push you to do something. And literally, literal Soviet tactics. Literal Soviet tactics. They literally used to put up posters and shit of blatantly untrue things and said, you have to say publicly that you believe this blatantly untrue thing, or else we shoot you. And so what did a lot of people do? They just said, yeah, the thing is real. Yes, you are right. And they all looked at each other knowing, like, yeah, we all know the sky is not pink with polka dots, but we have to say it's pink with polka dots, or else we get shot.
Well, and then, of course, right, the human mind they did it because the human mind has an amazing capacity to lie to itself, and if you are constantly told the sky is pink, at some point you will start to believe the sky is pink.
You'll just accept that pink equals blue. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, words are just words, and the meanings that are ascribed to them are just what the collective understanding is.
Yeah.
But
right,
yeah.
Or as the I forget what the Star Trek Next Generation episode was, but he was captured by somebody or something, I forget what, and they were torturing him. And they were just like, how many lights are there? And the answer was 3 lights, and they would say, no, there's 4 lights, and they would ask how many lights there are, and it was 3 lights, and the answer was 4 lights or whatever. And
Yeah.
then right when it looks like they've broken Picard, at the very end, he starts screaming, "There are 4." Right out of context, it seems insane and autistic. But like in context, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
no, he's resisting.
Yeah, and then, you get tortured and you just do whatever it does to make the pain stop. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's like you've never been in the pain torture were inflicted upon you. It's like, I'm sorry, fucking.
I would be able to resist. No.
It's like, motherfucker, you say you're going to be able to resist until they start taking bamboo slivers and hammering them into your nail bed.
Until they decide that, you know what, you would look better without fucking fingernails, bro.
Yeah. So did you know that each finger can be broken 6 times? Now you do.
Did you know that you can cut a man's balls off and keep him alive? Now you do.
Hang free out of that sack. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of fucked up shit that unfortunately humans are built quite resilient and will survive. And pain is pain, and there's a lot of pain that can go around before you shut down. And you will, that's why torture is a terrible method of getting information from people, because people will literally just make up what they think you want to hear to make you stop torturing them. Sometimes it's actually the correct information. Sometimes you just got the wrong fucking guy and he just invented a whole base of people that are definitely totally they're gonna kill you. Absolutely, please believe me. I don't want you to stick this poker up my ass anymore. Yeah, so it's just like...
Especially because the problem between the guy that you're convinced is right, what's the difference between a deep cover CIA operative and them grabbing the wrong guy? Both of them will spend the entire time saying, I don't know what you're talking about, please let me go.
Oh, I was...
I don't know what you were gonna say, but don't.
Yeah, probably should. No, I can't. No. No, you can't do that. No. But anyway, so, oh god, along came a spider. Humanity is on the path that repeats an endless cycle of war and suffering. Many forces within the Imperium beyond conspire every day to ensure that it remains on this path. Okay, many forces within the Imperium don't conspire to make sure that humanity suffers. There's one force inside the Imperium that conspires to make sure humanity suffers, and that's chaos, so they're not actually part of the Imperium. But, yes, there's many forces inside the Imperium that conspire to make sure war continues, because it turns out that if you stop killing your enemies, you lose. Because your enemies don't just stop killing you too. They actually keep killing you, so eventually you're going to have less people, and they won't. And then they win. And then you all die. Because they're waging a genocidal war upon you. So, yes.
Hey, we stopped killing the giant bugs, and it turns out they didn't stop eating us. They just ate
wild.
us.
Yeah, they did. They just kept doing it. Yeah. Turns out if you stop fighting the orcs still kill you. Wild.
Well, a lot of time they'll actually just make you a slave.
Which will definitely make you wish they just killed you.
I mean, yes, but...
it's too bad for those forces. It's too bad for those forces that sometimes an edge case scenario happens outside of their plans. And I'm that edge case. I'm a Necron Imperial Guard.
Oh, you're an edge case, okay.
Yeah, he's a Necron Imperial Guard.
What?
Huh?
Yeah. He's gonna save the Imperium. I'm glad I've given you both fucking aneurysms. Oh, God. Here's another dipshit. Radiance and Ruin. I found an idea and I'm gonna try and explore it. I'm gonna be female character focused because you don't see that in Warhammer.
There's
multiple series.
See, I would be angry with this, but apparently it's so widespread that Amazon also thinks this.
That's all the more reason to be
see,
angry about. Like,
no, Amazon thinks that because they think anything less than only female representation is not enough.
I'm not saying it's not retarded. I'm saying that people are just like so retarded they keep thinking this because it's said to them.
But as a longtime fan of Warhammer 40K and a longtime player, so
all right, show your painted armies.
You just somehow missed all of those books about the Sisters of Battle.
You missed all. You missed all of the cool guard characters.
Show armies.
Guys, believe me, I have the miniatures. I'm a real 40K fan.
You know, I'm willing to bet that they never even looked at a codex in the lore that's put in them in these cool little paragraphs that have been shown to me by the Warhammer fans in my friend circle.
No, they probably haven't.
Because I think it's neat that the codexes include that. I don't care about that though, because I'm trying to figure out how this math works, because it's a lot of numbers being thrown at my ADHD-addled mind.
That's why knights were a good choice for Max, because there's not a lot of. Well, let me phrase that.
Okay, no, there is not.
I can run
as
few as 4 models or as many as 9, and that's it. That's the max. That's all I need.
That's the maximum force you can do.
Well, no, you could run 18.
Yes. I'm not doing that. Fuck off.
Or no, sorry, you could run 12 max.
I'm still not doing that. Fuck off.
And then if you go over to Chaos Knights, what's the maximum number of knights they can bring?
Isn't it 4 or 5?
You're acting like I would know how a Chaos Army works.
Anyway, so so featuring the Inquisition, Space Marines, Sisters of Battle. Yes, all those female Space Marines. Okay.
You know what? No, hang on. I think we may have just figured out why this person isn't aware that there's a crap ton of like representation all across the Warhammer books. They were probably a solely Space Marine player.
Oh, probably, yeah.
They drank Kool-Aid and didn't pay attention.
Another really funny thing here is that this is going to be a female-centric story featuring 500-word chapters. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm saying more to what Killionaire just said about knights doing backflips, and I'll be honest. I think it's possible if they have assistance.
It's certainly possible, but
no, knights cannot back. I want to be very clear.
Atin.
They can backflip once.
I have looked at the mechanics of those. They can backflip. They're gonna have to start from a very high cliff.
They can backflip once. Which actually just reminded me in RimWorld, the vanilla expanded series Pirates Edition adds something called war caskets, where you basically strip all the body parts off of a pawn and entomb them in a suit of armor. And actually, part of my religion that I invented came with a special ritual of respecting the dead, where you can take a dead person who has not been dead for more than 24 hours and do a ritual of entombment, where you put the dead person inside a war casket so they can fight again
Did RimWorld just give you Dreadnoughts?
RimWorld just gave me Dreadnoughts, baby!
Holy shit. That's, you know what? That's fine. That's fine. If you're gonna take something from Warhammer, that's one of the coolest things you can take.
And to be fair,
I mean,
it's also
listen.
crazy balanced because it costs like 8 glitter world medicine, which is super hard to find, and requires a bunch of endgame resources. But yeah.
What I was gonna say was, I mean, listen, I'm totally down for that because listen, I was pants-shittingly terrified when I found out the automatons stole Terminator armor and dreadnoughts.
Hulks, yeah, the Hulks are great.
Oh,
I love that shit.
Yeah, I just
Oh wait,
saw
did I
a
ever post
Hulk
this? Hold on, let me
joke
post this.
animation.
I'm
And
pretty sure
I
I
was looking-
posted it at Max, but
Oh wait, was this the one where they combine?
no.
No, must be a
Most
different shitpost.
boring automaton extraction.
Oh, that! Oh, the cinematic thing?
Oh,
Yeah.
that thing, yeah.
I saw one of those.
Most boring automaton extraction.
I saw one of those Hulks stomping through the fire, and I'm like, wait, when did they steal the Dreadnoughts? Was this a recent update?
No,
they
this
did
is
their-
just part of the base game.
I've just never seen the Hulk before in any of the myriad of clips that have been sent my way.
They only show up at difficulty 6 and beyond.
Oh, okay, that explains it.
Yeah.
They're actually not that hard to kill if you have the right weapon for it.
If you shoot their backs, yeah.
But yeah, I was shocked to find out that, like, oh yeah, they just stole the Dreadnoughts.
Oh wait, Max, don't you own a PS5?
Yeah.
Oh, you can get on the PS5.
There's crossplay.
Yeah, crossplay is on the PS5.
Yeah, I don't feel like setting all that up and then making sure my keyboard still works properly on it. For all I know, they didn't even set up their PS5 version to read a keyboard and mouse.
No,
which,
probably didn't.
honestly, considering how stupid they were with picking the anti-cheat they did, I'm not sure I can trust them to have included that compatibility on the PS5
Yeah,
version.
probably didn't. They are Swedish, but
That
point-
explains some things.
yeah, yeah, right.
Then
Point being though is fucking it's a good game. It's so disappointing. Helldivers and Dead Island are two great examples of actually amazing games with the dumbest fucking execution outside of the game possible. Just the dumbest. Like, I was telling Max about this. So Dead Island 2, actually fun gameplay. There was multiple times while I was playing the game that I said, wow, this would be so fun if I was with friends and we all had different elemental weapons and we're just like doing combos and shit. And the monster types are, good. They're classics, but they're good. They're executed properly. I was telling Nose about this last night when we were playing Dota, where it's a refreshing zombie story where it's taking itself seriously in universe, but it's also telling you, the player, to not take this shit seriously at all. Like, it is like just full on, just like, oh yeah, actually, humanity has a clock inside its DNA that is part of a giant life cycle of a macroorganism that turns everyone into flesh soup. And so the zombie virus isn't a virus, it's just the DNA activating early, and some people are actually immune to this DNA activating and they gain superpowers from it activating instead. And it's just so fucking silly. But it works just fine, because it's not trying to be, like, gritty. And it's just, like, it actually, I would say, like, an 8 out of 10 game. Which is shocking for the Dead Island series, which is famous for its I want to love it gameplay, but I can't. And the story again, is shockingly good, coming from a series that has had 4 games for it come out now, Dead Island and Dying Light, and not a single one of them, except for Dead Island 2, has had a fucking coherent plot line, which is...
There's a 5th. Don't forget.
Riptide, right, my bad.
No. Escape from Dead Island. Oh, that makes 6 then. Oh, God.
Yeah, there's 6 games, only one of them has a coherent storyline. Which is Dead Island 2.
That's pretty... Man,
But...
Dying Light 2 would have been coherent
Oh my god.
If they hadn't thrown away half the notes
Max,
and hadn't fucked up the time.
Dying Light 2's story almost makes me want to make a fucking YouTube review and post it. Like, that's how bad it is. It almost makes me want to make a literary YouTube video about how they fucked up the narrative and where they fucked up the narrative in every single way they could have made the narrative better everywhere.
Constant discussion between you and me when we were
as we were playing
in my world. Like,
yeah,
I see where they were going with this. I see where they could have made this decision. This would be literally 100 times better. Why wasn't this character the sister? Why'd they set it up this way?
Yeah, it was just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Yeah, multiple times where it's just like, huh? But yeah, Dead Island 2, actually great story great story for what it is. Let's be clear here. It's not a great story of gaming, it's a great story for a silly looter-shooter zombie co-op PvE game.
I guess I'm gonna need to bump that a bit up in the log and have you hop into my world to play
through the story. Yeah, no, I'll fucking, dude, I'll absolutely play that shit again.
Why do you have 60 hours?
Shut the fuck up, Max. I've only completed the main story. I have only 10 of the side missions completed, and none of the other side quest stuff completed.
I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna go see. Well, I'm gonna go get an idea of how long it'll take me to play through the main story with Sneaky helping me. Why is it 60?
I did a lot of farming. I got sidetracked very often.
No,
Sneaky getting sidetracked.
Farming?
Yeah,
amazing.
Sneaky getting sidetracked. This is shocking news.
Not one of the first Dark Souls 2's players to find out the hard way that you can grind an entire area just out of existence.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah. People didn't believe me when I posted that originally.
No. Then he summoned me to his world like, Sneaky, where are all the enemies? About
they're all
that.
Dead.
Robbing me of valuable souls from co-op experiences.
They're all dead.
And then the next time it's like, oh, I'm so proud of you, Sneaky, not grinding this area out. It's like, oh, no, I popped 3 seeds at the bonfire. It's like, Sneaky, this area's New Game Plus 4 now. What have you done? What do you mean it's New Game Plus 4, Max? Sneaky.
Yeah, meanwhile, we're fucking just decking Max, and I'm like, what do you mean, Max? I'm just fine.
Killian, Eric, you should finish Dark Souls 2.
If only to finish it. Yeah.
Well, do the base game first, then the DLCs. The DLCs are the
he's
best
in the
part
third DLC.
It's a good game. It's just not a great Dark Souls game.
Yeah.
It's the worst Dark Souls series, and I would still recommend people play it because it made a lot of amazing improvements to combat and movement from Dark Souls 1.
But anyway, so yeah, what I'm saying is the poor execution outside of the game, though, it's just horrible, just absolutely fucking horrible. They went to Epic Game Store as an exclusive for a whole year, so they completely ruined all of their advertising, because they advertised hard for this game. They ruined their advertising because then they went because they were gonna go to Steam, and then Epic Game Store paid them more.
Well, yeah, because it was announced before Epic Game Store was even a thing outside of being the spot to buy community-made add-ons for Unreal Engine.
Yeah, and it was just like, you fucking dipshits. So they ruined their marketing. They made a massive PR blunder when it came to it. People fucking obviously hated it. And then then when they finally fucking release it to Steam, they still initially tried to enforce Epic Game Store add-on shit into it.
Yep.
Everyone's like,
Which,
fuck you.
by the way, I see part of why people are running away from it, even though you told me it's not actually required.
Right.
The store page does mention that you have to have an Epic Game Store account.
Yeah, it does mention that, but you don't actually have to.
No, oh no, it's not mentioning it. It says requires third-party account.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I know it mentions it, but you don't actually have to.
Yeah, and that's absolutely shooting them in the foot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
and people are just like, oh, this is lame. Yeah.
Nobody trusts Epic Game. Like, once I got onto this system I'm on right now, this computer, I haven't logged back into my Epic account because I'm not dealing with their I don't care that the free games they have are really cool. Fuck them.
Yeah, they literally harvest my data and fuck you. Hate you. Yeah, that's dumb bullshit. And it's the same thing for Helldivers, where they're like, hey, we're just gonna choose the dumbest, fucking, most useless. And this is what really makes me fucking grind my gears over it. Helldivers 2 claimed that they were doing this. They picked up Endguard specifically because they didn't want people cheating in their games. And within a week, people were exposing developer files and cheating in the fucking game.
Yep.
And it's like, what is the point of this fucking dog shit kernel level software then? Is if it can't even do the thing that you said it was gonna do.
It stops the normal script kiddies from breaking into the market.
But it doesn't even do that.
Microtransactions from them. Well, no, there's a certain amount of people where, like, oh, well, I was going to use Cheat Engine to get the premium currency, but this is here now, so there's no point. It's stopping them.
Wait, I'm sorry. What the fuck did you just say? The Wizard of Molech? A starving artist is swept away from her home in New Jersey. I gotta kill this author.
Understandable.
To a grim, dark, far future, she embarks on her new quest with her new friends to discover the warp itself so that she can return home. A chaos take on the Wizard of Oz and the epic weak to strong tale as a new god empress takes command.
Yeah, no, I think I'm done for the night. Good night, gamers.
A 137 chapter, 900,000 word story. Peak female author moment, indeed. Goddamn. Anyway, we've talked about a lot of things, and a lot of those things were actually important, even if they didn't have anything to do with fanfiction. No one will ever see this, but this podcast will be a record of all of the shit I've said, so that someday, 30 years down the line, I can get canceled for it. See you on Friday.
Man, that's not gonna happen. Twitch servers ain't gonna last that long.
That's fair. See you on Friday, because there's always more.